Wait, Robert, we're still here despite this week's exciting events.
Lots of them, lots of them.
The eclipse. What else happened this week?
Well, I had a lovely drive out to Lake Scugog and had an offer fail in North Toronto and out in what do you call it, Claremont and Clarington, Bowmanville. Things are absolutely red hot at $1 million. Red hot.
So everywhere we go, it's all sorts of things are happening. And on Wednesday, the Bank of Canada announced no change. So there's no change. We're 1 month away from when Mr. Benjamin Tal initially said May, June, for the first drops to happen. Now June, July, I guess. And on this episode of Real Estate Chat with
Jonder Perez.
and Robert Eid, we're going to try to figure out what's going on with this market because, spring market, I mean, fair to say we're already past the eye of the storm of the spring market. It's already April. Rates will be adjusted. Don't hear from us, hear from everybody saying it. Bank of Canada released a whole bunch of stuff that we're not going to go into for reasons Robert will maybe touch upon later. But the question is, as Real Estate Chat viewers who have liked, subscribed, and follow us on these episodes, what's your next move, literally, when the market is telling you all sorts of different things? Robert, how do we tackle that question?
Okay, there's pessimists and there's optimists. And anybody who's on TV is an optimist, except for the occasional person who's a pessimist. And you hate to listen to them because they're telling you that the market's going to blow up and the world is going to die and the financing world is all overvalued and going to kill. Like, there's always someone that has that view, and every now and again they're right. However, this year, people were hoping, I would say in January, that 80% of the people that you talk to were sure that this was going to be a bang up year. Why? Because they wanted it to be a bang up year. They wanted to have more sales. They wanted to have higher prices. They wanted that. And now we've gone into sort of a thoughtful uh, stage. The Bank of Canada, also the Federal Reserve is saying, well, the things that we're doing aren't doing the things that we thought we were going to see in our look at hard data. So we really can't do what we said we were going to do because we haven't got the hard data, and we said we're going to be data driven. So they're in a hard spot. And both the governor in Canada and the Federal Reserve chairman have got politics that's getting in the way of their economic interference, because that's what the central bank does. It interferes in what it sees is wrong, but they cause themselves by using their big hammer of interest rates. Now, we're in the real estate business, and we don't care about all the politics and all the complicated and around the world and everything like that. But what we do know is that supply and demand and consumer confidence are the key factors. Now, when the Bank of Canada says, I'm not going to do what I said I was going to do, I might, but I'm not going to do it right now, that undermines the current narrative of rates are coming down. What we did see was all of the lenders squish out any kind of extra cushion that they had in their 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year rates and variable in the course of the last 6 weeks, because they want to get their volume in, because they know rates are going to come down. So rates will look better in the future than they do right now. If they have a small margin now, but rates fall down, then their margin will increase. So everybody's playing a game. Now, buyers and sellers, they want what's best for them. And real estate salespeople, who are a vital factor in this market and the changing market, are a vital factor as well. If you look at the stats, which I guess we will in a second, you'll see that so far in April, we're 30% off where we were in the last 10 years and the last 5 years. Now, you can't look at the last 5 years, you have to look at the last 4 years, because you have to remove 2020. 2020 was a disaster. April, I charted every day, and we're 30% off. Now, we've been 30% off for almost the whole last 12 months, so it should be no surprise. But everybody's making great recovery predictions, and prices are going to go up. And Canadian Real Estate Association came out with a blurb today of new forecasts. Like, I guess they do it on a regular schedule, so they got to do something. However, what's happening right now is only one thing. There's not enough listings. There is a constant supply of buyers who are cautious, but they're unable to buy because everybody is subjecting their listing to the low list and hold price strategy. And so you can't buy anything until next Thursday. On next Thursday, there's 5 offers piled up. And so you say, well, what do I do? You see, put in your offer. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you don't. Don't feel bad. There will be another one. But what if this one is just perfect? Well, then you pay whatever you have to pay and you'll be happy that you got it. And that's all there is. It's a bit of a shootout. This open bidding, this all this stuff, electronic, it's just getting in the way of one buyer trying to buy a house. Okay, now here's the thing that we were talking about. You see that slash going down? That's April of 2020. We're just in the middle of that comparison. When the April stats come, they say, oh, it's way low. It's only 8,500. We're 20% off average. No, that's when you get that low number that comes in to screw up your statistics. So we'll continue with that as we go along. That's the March numbers that are in front of us there. And the problem we have with Canadian Real Estate Association, with Benjamin Tull, with Robert, that's his correct pronunciation, Hogue, is that they're looking at stats from March, which reflect what really happened in people's minds in February, and that's a long time ago. It's out of date with what's happening right now. Now, what's going to happen in the future? Last year, if it was last year, it would die. Starting now, it would die. People say, I'm not putting up with this. If they're going to raise interest rates again, well, I'm just not buying. I'm going to wait for prices to come down. I want prices to come down. Affordability means prices will come down because my income's not going up. And if prices aren't going to come down and interest rates are going to go in, I'm going to do nothing. So what does that say? It says it's a mess. And it's too early to say for sure what's going to happen because interest rates are not going to come down. If they come down a quarter, who cares? Benjamin Tull, that's all he promised was a quarter. Comes down in May, comes in June, comes down in July, a quarter, who cares? We need 2 points off for the real estate business to kick back in, but nobody wants the real estate business to kick back into gear because that's going to move up prices and that's going to move up their shelter calculation. That's going to blow their whole waiting for 2% inflation statistics to look at in the rearview mirror. So what a mess. Does that make sense? No. Is it what's happening? Yes.
Oh, I mean, it is definitely a mess, and it is what's happening. And I'm sure for those of you who are watching this, and some of you may have attempted to sell in the spring market, some of you attempted to buy in the spring market. And I distinctly remember because from our realtors at Remax Hallmark who mentioned to us what's going on in the market on a constant basis. One week you may be in multiple offers, the next week there are no offers and it's crickets, and then the seller ends up canceling or terminating the listing is proper name for it, and then increasing the price to what they wanted, right? So Robert, we've asked this question a lot of times, so I'm not going to go into, sellers, buyers, what they do and whatnot. I guess the question I want to ask for today is how does somebody have confidence that they're making the right decision now? Like, for example, we hear about these upcoming rate cuts, decreases, but then there's always an article about, oops, the government seems to be spending too much money. They may not cut rates because they need it to stay that way. So somebody right now, how do they gain confidence knowing what they're going to do is the right thing?
Interest rates are not going to go down significantly all this year. So if that's your timetable, know that. Now, the number of houses for sale and the seller's point of view is he's getting more and more, and she are getting more and more for their house than they were last year and the year before. So if you're a buyer, like you've got to cap your price. And seller's not interested in anything except for the highest price and all cash and closing when they want it. It's brutal as a buyer. It is absolutely brutal. All you can do is keep looking in your geographic area and in your price, your budget constraints. You may have to edge out a little bit. It's going to require a lot of patience, a lot of patience. If you see the ideal one, pounce on it. Put in offers on every single one, every single offer date. Put in an offer. You're just, doing an electronic thing and sending it. It's not wasting any paper. It's not doing anything. Just send it and you might get it. Have all your ducks in a row with the financing. Make sure you can get approved for the financing and have a deposit on standby so that you can do an electronic transfer of it in 9 or 10 hours notice. So it's a madhouse. What do you do in a madhouse? You cope. You cope according to your own needs. If you're in an urgent situation, then you got to do something. If you're not urgent, well, try and relax, because the whole rest of it is a whirlwind jumble of competing interests. And unless you're the seller, you're not winning. It's the
No
seller's
pressure.
market. It's the
So no,
seller's market. So if you're a buyer, try and depressure yourself.
no pressure exactly. Don't rush into it. There will be frustrating situations. There will be failed offers, but don't do the wrong thing. Do the right thing within your budget. That's the obvious advice. And keep watching episodes of Real Estate Chat where you can ask us any question about real estate, and we'll be happy to answer it for you. So thanks for watching this episode, and make sure you leave into the comments what your thoughts are, and ask Robert and I any questions, and we will be happy to help. Take care and bye for now.
See you later. Bye bye.